So this is exciting. So a few days ago, I made this to show you how to make an herb garden. All these are cuttings except for the little lavender. And I'll tell you what happened was my camera went off as I was doing it. I think it was too full. I don't know. The whole thing shut off. But these are cuttings, and I put extra ones in here. This is the sage in case they don't all make it. This is thyme. This is a basil, a cutting, and it looked really bad the other day. And I took off a few more leaves. It looks like it's going to make it. This is oregano. I did the thyme. This is rosemary. And there's the lavender. And I use this. You know how sometimes I use potting mix for new seedlings if I'm growing them. I don't throw the bags away because they make good covers. And I didn't want the sun, though today we're really overcast. I didn't want the sun to beat on them because they are producing roots. I'll move them over here so you can see them better, but you want to make sure for the first week or two that they're not in direct sunlight. You know what? Let's move this. Let me shut the camera off, move that there, and I'll see what I'm going to do right now. So as I move this, I'm just letting you know, we're going to make an herb garden. And you know what? Life happens. I lost some of my video, but I think all in all, maybe you're going to get even more out of me than you would have by watching me. So let me get my gloves on and let's get this video going so you can make an herb garden for next to nothing. You know what? Make 3, make 4, make a whole bunch, give them away for Christmas presents. They'll be here before we know it. Today I'm going to continue to show you how I am putting together gardens in dish pans. And you could do this on a balcony, in a great big yard or the smallest, tiniest yard, and you could grow tons of lettuce. And now we're going to grow an herb garden. I don't think I need to cover it. Uh-oh. Hey, don't make me cover that one with tulle. This one's covered with tulle, see? You know what? I believe I have a fix for that. So we'll come back later on this topic of the cabbage butterfly. So we'll come back later on that. But today I want to talk about dish pans. Now the black ones I get, they're Sterilite. They are 4.5 gallons, 18 quarts. The first thing you want to do is you want to make holes before you grow in them. Now you can use that step drill that you just saw or a soldering iron. Either one will work. Now the ones I get from Sterilite, they're made in the USA and they've got a number 5. That is generally food safe. That's what your food containers in the stores are. So it's good to go when it comes to growing in them. I've been growing in the totes, the dish pans, anything that's got a 5 is good for me. Now here what I'm going to do is I'm going to save on money for purchasing soil. But not only that, it's not about spending money right now. It's about making your soil better. So you see here, I'm just taking stuff from the garden. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be weeds that are growing in the ground that you don't want. Pull it out. Leaves that are brown or yellow, just in the wrong place. Pull them off. Put them on the bottom. It's going to help with drainage for your plants, but it's going to hold water and it's going to break down and it's going to make natural soil like you would get out in the open, out in the forest, anywhere in the desert. Oh, a chicken bone. That's because the soil I'm using is coming out of my totes or other flower pots. In other words, I compost everything from the kitchen. Chicken bones, well, you know, like dinosaur bones they find, they don't really break down. But does it hurt anything? No. It actually creates space in the soil so it doesn't get compacted, and your little critters like your earthworms, your microbes can move around. So don't worry about chicken bone. I just put it back in. I'll probably find it next time I tear this apart and I'll go, oh, there's that chicken bone again. But anyways, what I do is I collect soil from other containers that the plants are gone. The plants that we're mainly growing right now or talking about are plants that are not forever plants, your vegetable plants. Today, we're going to make an herb garden. Oh, I love that shovel. 90-something cents. Let's say $1 from Walmart. Get as many as you can. I lose them all over the garden, but let me tell you something. They don't break and they last forever. I have nothing to do with them other than I absolutely love those shovels and the scoops. But getting back to this, we're building soil like nature does. This is what your plants want. A lot of the soil, and that's not saying do not buy potting mix from the store. You probably have to. It's just not good enough for some of the plants, and I don't use plant food here. So I make my own soil, and it does make a difference when growing. Now here I am taking some different colored cups. These are drinking cups probably left over from a party. You can also get them at Dollar Tree. And there is no reason in the world why I am using different colors here other than it looks really nice on camera. Now, I actually thought I was going to keep track of all the different plants I was planting in there. And well, that didn't work out, but I'll talk about that in a moment. But these are drinking cups. Now, what I'm doing is I'm making a big hole. See the hole? You want to make it big. We're not just making little drain holes like we did, let's say, in the dish pan. We're making big holes because we want our plants to escape. Now, here's the issue. I recorded doing all these. These are all cuttings, and the camera went off and I didn't know. The only thing in there that's not a cutting is the lavender. I grew that from seed. But everything else, I actually just put it in as cuttings. If you need to see propagating more, tell me, I'll make another video. But this is what I did. I went around my garden collecting different herbs. This is sage, and I just removed most of the leaves. And you want to make sure you get the notch where the leaves grow. It's called the nodes. You'd like to get at least 1 or 2 under the soil because that's where the roots are going to grow from, usually. So here I'm using my scissors, I'm making a hole, and I'm just going to shove the stem in there. But you want to get that underneath so it will grow roots. Now what I've got there, top right is basil, which is a cutting. You just saw me do the sage. What I'm holding right now is thyme, and I'm just taking pieces of thyme that I took off my big thyme that I've had now for over a year. And the reason I do 3 pieces is I'm kind of thinking ahead that they're not all going to make it. In other words, I'm hoping that one's going to make it, but you know what? If all 3 make it, I could either leave it or I could yank out a couple and move them. So I'm trimming it down. We don't want a lot of leaves when the plant is trying. It's not a plant yet. It's just a piece of branch. When it's trying to grow roots, we want to have as little on the top as possible. And this way it doesn't have to concentrate on trying to take care of the top and take care of the bottom. But you know, I usually leave more than I should. And it works. So especially this way. Oh, I've got to tell you why we're using cups and why we're not planting directly in the dish pan in a second. So here I'm putting the 3 in there. So that's the thyme. Directly underneath in the middle is oregano. And I've got 1 more space I can put something else. So I don't know what to put offhand. I think I'll just do rosemary. Rosemary, oh my goodness, you probably know people growing the bushes. They're probably 6 foot tall. You can just take branches off of that and just put them in the soil. You can water root rosemary very easily, but sometimes it's harder to move it outside. So if you can root it in soil first, it's better. Water rooting, you really have to work with it. Now, I'll tell you the truth. I came back here, it's about 3 days later, and I was thinking and contemplating, should I tear the whole thing apart because I messed up when my camera went off, or should I just keep going and doing what I'm doing? And I decided to just keep going. Why? Because every single one of those plants look good. Everything. So I decided to just tell you what I'm doing. Right now, the plant itself, each one of those propagating plants that I'm working with are in their own vessel, their own home, their own cup. Each one of those plants have their own homes. When I go through and water it, you're watering each individual cup. The red one, the purple one, the yellow one. There's 2 red ones in there. A blue one, the green one. When you water it, the water goes directly to the stem of the plants that we put in there. Which means when I water, oh, look at that, earthworms. That's good. You saw me put all those leaves in there? That earthworm is going to eat all the leaves or work on that. Back it goes in the middle, not in the cup. Now, of course, if you were doing this, you probably would go to the nursery and you'd buy some different herbs of your loving. Don't put mint in here, it gets too big. But you would be putting in different types of herbs and they probably already have roots, so you don't have to bother with worrying about it. But when you have it in a cup, each one gets direct watering. Best thing in the world. And it holds the water. Plastic holds the water. If it was a paper cup, if it was fabric, it would not hold the water. It would dry out. Very, very hard to start plants like that unless it's sitting in water. So this is really good for starting plants, and having them individually, I could literally later on, even if the roots go out the bottom, which they will, I could pop the whole thing out and give them their own big flower pot or tote or put them in the ground. This is really a good way to propagate, but this is not what this is about. This is about taking a dish pan, like the black one here, which is 4.5 gallons. That's 4.5 gallons. That's like a 5-gallon bucket. This is phenomenal. You could grow all kinds of stuff in dish pans, not just an herb garden. The red one on the top, also sterilite, That's 12 quarts. So it's smaller than the black. And they do have, let's say, Dollar Tree, and Sterlite's got them too. They got the 8 quart. I will tell you that Dollar Tree, though it's good to grow in, they seem to break down within a year or two. I haven't had any of Sterlite's break down, but the 8 quart's a little small. But depending on what you're going to grow in it, you can get away with the cheap Dollar Tree ones, or get them from Walmart. I think they're only like $2. I'll have to double check the price on that. But I really love growing in the black dish pans and the red ones. The size is perfect for everything. It could be tomatoes, believe it or not. Zucchini, I've grown in them. It's just great. Onions, garlic, brassicas, which is any of your kale or collard. Keep them small. You wouldn't want to put a peach tree in there, or an apple tree. Not even a fig tree unless you plan on getting it out quick. In other words, we're planting mainly vegetable plants, though I do plant flowers in them. I plant lots of flowers. When you are growing in a dish pan, you have full control of these planters, even more than the totes that are in the back, because you can move them, you can shade them, you can work with them, you can create the climate that each of these plants need in each container. And that's why I love dish pans. So I love my totes, which you can see in the background. Now, going back to the herb garden we're setting up. Each of those plants are going to grow at their own speed. And if any of those cuttings I did, the basil, not any of them don't make it, I can either put a new cutting in there, or I could go buy a plant if I want. But this is fantastic with the cup sunken in the soil that I'm using, which is my own reused soil. You could use potting mix, but try to put something else in there to make it more substantial. In other words, real soil, real compost, something the plants want to grow in. And then what you do is you're kind of burying the cups more than halfway. I'm going to leave the rim up, as you can see there. The reason is each one will get watered when I water it. Each one will have the amount of moisture inside that cup, and that's so important. Now, the soil around it keeps the climate perfect for the roots and the plants. That's why I'm building up the soil around the pots. In other words, each individual cup. It really works good. I'm growing lettuce and everything in there. It's the best thing. I mean, the more I start to grow around here in dish pans, which I've been doing for years and years, the more I'm learning. We're all learning. You're going to learn things that I haven't even done yet. Now, this is plastic flowers, a little bit of silk flowers, and we're going to talk more about that towards the end of this video. Something that has nothing to do with the herbs. Now, I'm putting that there I'm changing the climate. I'm creating shade with that. That's one thing. The plants love it. It's also going to be protected a little bit on wind. See how the leaves are blowing on the plant, the plastic plant? Well, it's creating an environment that these young cuttings, because they're new young baby plants, if they make it, are going to really want. Because normally your seedlings, your small plants are coming from underneath your big plants. Well, these are like the big mother plant protecting it. Oh, I'm going to protect you from what's going to come and eat you or take you out. The wind, the sun. It's giving them the shade that they want. Stay tuned, because we're going to talk about that cabbage butterfly, which is absolutely amazing. You can put as many of these plastic flowers in as you want. Then as they get bigger, of course, you can just pull them out and use them somewhere else. But there they are. So great. And that's what they look like now. I mean, this was 3 days after when I first planted them. But see, when you water them, it's going directly to the plant. Sometimes when you have them in a pot or a tote or in the ground, the water leaves. You think it's going to your plant, but as soon as it gets under the ground, it takes off sideways, it runs somewhere else, down the side, somewhere else, and your plant does not actually get the water it needs. So that's what you want to know, that your plant is getting water, especially, another earthworm. I found it on the bottom of the pot where I was taking the soil out. We don't want to lose them, so they'll dry out. Now they're happy, they got a lot to eat. But the point is, you want these plants to grow and stay damp. If they dry out in the next few weeks at any given time by accident, you'll lose them, because the roots are very, very fibrous and very tiny, and they cannot dry out in order to live. So by growing them in this method, your plants are probably, if you keep up with them every day, give them at least water once a day, those plants, at least most of them, will grow roots, and then you can start, you can propagate anything, your herb garden this way. If you want to save money, because you may know somebody that has some herbs that they can give you cuttings from. Look at the lettuce that's growing. This has been magnificent. So think about dish pans if you're having issues maybe gardening. If you're gardening and everything is perfect, don't change it. I'm really trying to get you, like that was my strawberries I just showed you off to the side. I want you to improve your gardening. I want you to make it easy. I don't want this to be work. I want this to be fun where if you're at work, you can't wait to get home to get in the garden, or it's the weekend and you're not working and you want to work in your garden, or you want to get your friends and your neighbors working. I want you to have success. Now, of course, we're going to fail because nature fails. Well, things happen, but it doesn't matter. Then we compost it and go on our merry way just like nature does. I'm going to be setting up a whole lot more herb gardens. So if you want to see me do more cuttings and this time see it, let me know. Put it in the comments. Yes, Robbie, we'd like to see the video you lost. And I'll make another one because I do want to make more herb gardens. So I hope you enjoyed this. I just love this. I love the idea that they're portable, but more than that, we're growing our own food, and every little bit we can grow helps. So with that, have a wonderful day. Don't forget to eat what you grow. And now I want to tell you about the cabbage butterfly. Okay, so let's fix this for the cabbage butterfly. Now, what they say is if the cabbage butterfly sees white, they will pass it up thinking it's another cabbage butterfly. Now, is that true? I don't know. I've never really tested it. So I'm going to put some white flowers. What I have been testing is with most of my plants, I'm not going to say all, but so far it's been all, with most of the plants, when they have plastic flowers in them, it appears to me it may be a deterrent. The butterfly has been bypassing them. Does she not recognize it as a plant? Does she think it's not the type of plant she's looking for? Is it a scent for some of them? I don't know. But if it works, why not do it? So by adding in flowers, I've noticed whether it's silk and plastic, that they stay away from it. You know what? It's worth a try if you've got a lot of problems. I added in for shade, but if it's working for some of my insects and pests, why not?